The morning in the village was calm and peaceful. A soft golden sunlight spread across the fields, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh earth. Birds chirped happily as if welcoming a new day full of hope. In the middle of this quiet village stood a small mud house with a wide courtyard. In that courtyard grew a large mango tree, old, strong, and filled with ripe, golden mangoes hanging from its branches. This house belonged to a small family, Ravi, his young wife Nisha, and his elderly mother, whom everyone lovingly called Amma. Nisha had recently moved from the city after her marriage. She was not used to the slow, simple life of the village. She liked things fast, easy, and plentiful. Patience was not her strength, and somewhere deep inside, she always wanted more than what she had. That morning, as Nisha stepped into the courtyard, her eyes fell on the mango tree. Her face lit up instantly. So many mangoes, she whispered to herself. The branches were heavy with fruit. Some mangoes had already fallen on the ground, but many more hung above, glowing in the sunlight. Nisha's mind started racing. If I collect all of them, we can eat, and maybe even sell some, she thought. Why let them go to waste? Without wasting a moment, she went inside and dragged out an old wooden ladder. It looked worn out, with cracks in its steps, but Nisha didn't care. Alma was sitting quietly on a charpai in one corner, counting her tasbih beads. Her eyes gently lifted as she noticed Nisha. "Beta," Alma said softly, "that ladder is old. Be careful." But Nisha barely listened. "Don't worry, Alma. I know what I'm doing," she replied quickly. She placed the ladder against the mango tree and began climbing. At first, everything seemed fine. The breeze brushed against her face, and she felt a strange excitement. Reaching the branches, she stretched her hand and picked her first mango. A smile appeared on her lips. 1, 2, 3, she counted, picking mango after mango. Instead of placing them carefully in a basket, she started throwing them down to the ground in a hurry. Thud, thud, thud. The mangoes scattered everywhere. "Just a few more," she murmured. Below, Alma watched silently. There was concern in her eyes, but she remained calm. "Beta," she called again, "take only what you need. Too much greed is never good." But Nisha ignored her once more. Her eyes were now fixed on a higher branch, one that held even bigger, juicier mangoes. "I need those too," she said to herself. To reach them, she had to lean sideways, shifting her weight dangerously. The ladder creaked slightly. For a moment, Nisha hesitated. But then greed took over. "Just one more," she insisted. She stretched her arm as far as she could. Crack! A loud sound echoed in the quiet courtyard. The wooden step broke. Aha! Nisha lost her balance. In a split second, she fell from the ladder. Mangoes flew in all directions. Dust rose from the ground. The peaceful morning was shattered. Nisha lay on the ground, her body trembling in pain. Tears filled her eyes as she struggled to breathe. Alma immediately got up and rushed toward her. "Beta," she cried.
"Oh, my child, I was
She
so
gently
worried."
lifted Nisha's head and
"I'm
placed
okay,
it on
Amma.
her lap.
I'm right here."
"Are you all right?" Nisha winced in pain. Her hand was injured, and her heart was filled with regret. "I'm sorry, Alma," she whispered weakly. "I didn't listen to you." Alma looked at her with soft eyes. "I warned you, Beta," she said gently. "Greed makes a person blind." Just then, Ravi returned home. Seeing Nisha on the ground, he ran toward her in panic. "What happened?" he asked anxiously. Alma explained everything. Ravi sighed deeply, but instead of getting angry, he remained calm. "Let's take her to the doctor," he said. The next few days were difficult. Nisha's hand was bandaged, and she had to rest. She could not do any work, and she spent most of her time sitting quietly. But something inside her had changed. She kept thinking about Amma's words. Too much greed is never good. She replayed the moment in her mind again and again, the broken ladder, the fall, the pain. And she realized one thing. It wasn't the ladder that broke her. It was her greed. One evening, as the sun began to set, Nisha slowly walked into the courtyard. The mango tree stood there, just as before. Calm. Silent. Unchanged. But Nisha was not the same anymore. She sat under the tree, looking at the branches. This time, she didn't feel greedy. She felt peaceful. Amma was sitting nearby. Nisha gathered the courage and walked toward her. Amma, she said softly. Amma looked up and smiled. Yes, Beta. Tears filled Nisha's eyes. I was wrong, she said. I wanted too much. I didn't think. I didn't listen. Amma gently held her hand. It's okay, Beta, she replied. Making mistakes is part of life. But I hurt myself, and I could have hurt more. Amma nodded. Yes. But you learned something, didn't you? Nisha looked down and whispered, yes. Amma smiled warmly. Then your fall was not a loss, it was a lesson. From that day on, Nisha changed. She became more patient. More careful. More grateful. When she needed something, she took only what was necessary. When Amma spoke, she listened with respect. And slowly, she began to understand the beauty of a simple life. One morning, Ravi noticed the change. You seem different, he said with a smile. Nisha laughed softly. Maybe I am, she replied. I've learned something important. What is it? Ravi asked. Nisha looked toward the mango tree and said, that having more doesn't always mean being happier, sometimes less is enough. Amma, who was listening from a distance, smiled with pride. The wind blew gently. The leaves of the mango tree rustled softly. And in that peaceful courtyard, a lesson had taken root, one that would never be forgotten. Greed can make you fall, but wisdom helps you rise again.